First of all, thanks for staying. I'm the second to last presentation before you guys have beers. The other thing I wanted to say before I get into the presentation is it's good to be back. Good to be back in person and good to be back in Europe. This was spring of 2019 before the pandemic. I think John just left, but I'm really happy to be back at Synda. So I want to first start talking about a little bit some sort of macro things happening in the industry and then go a little deeper. But right now, it's never been easier to get online. And we're seeing this in our business, but also just generally, right? The pandemic sort of made a new baseline for business formations. Many reasons, right? Some people got laid off and then they became entrepreneurs. Some people got burnt out and, great resignation. They said, screw this corporate thing. I'm going to do it myself. But we've never seen more of these businesses forming. In fact, there's 5 million, this is a US stat, but there's 5 million new LLCs formed every year in the US right now. And many of these are what you would consider kind of the traditional SME that you guys have been working with. But also I want people to think about when we say small businesses, what are the other small businesses that are out there? Many of these are consultants, freelancers, they are solopreneurs, people with side hustles, things like that. And they're not starting their business brick and mortar, they're starting their businesses online. And we see this, of course, in our own data. And I'm going to stop putting my shadow on here. I'm going to come over here. But we're seeing this in our own business. Here in Europe, it's one of our largest markets, and we're growing very fastly in Europe. The wave of new entrepreneurs going online has been amazing for Wix. We've had 20% year-over-year growth in Europe. But on the flip side, obviously, there's still challenges for agencies, right? So even though there's never been more of an addressable market, cost of acquisition is going up. In fact, cost of acquisition has gone up 60% in the last couple of years. Sales is expensive, but so is marketing. You have more competition than ever, right? You're not just competing with the agency next door. You're also competing, including Wix, with all of the big technology companies out there that are also trying to make it easy for these entrepreneurs to get online. And on top of that, there's a generational shift as well, right? Many of these new entrepreneurs, they're younger, they're digitally native, they don't want to speak to salespeople. They're not afraid of getting their hands dirty with technology. And quite frankly, they're probably not ready to sort of utilize the do-it-for-me services that you guys are providing at the price point that you're providing it yet. And that's the big caveat is yet. So what I want to talk about today is imagine you had an acquisition funnel that you could create, that you could capture some of these new entrepreneurs, these new businesses that are forming at time of formation, give them the solutions where you can compete with these other large tech companies to help them get online, and then grow with them, because that's really what we're doing at Wix. Our core business, of course, as you guys know, is DIY. I'll get into who is Wix, but we'll show you how you can create your own high-intent funnel that will then be a high-intent and efficient sales channel for your salespeople. I think most people know Wix. If you don't, raise your hand. But of course, our core business is self-service. We have over 220 million users worldwide. We bring on 3 million new users a month. What is a user? That's a unique individual on our platform. They may have many different websites within our tool. So we have billions of websites. We have about 6,000 employees globally. And of course, we are the leader in web presence globally. We put those 2,500 developers to use to really build out a platform that is more than websites. It's end-to-end business management. So it's where an entrepreneur can start, manage, and grow their business. We've had over 850 releases just in the last year, so innovation's at our core. And what's cool is now we're bringing this to our B2B partnerships. So we started an initiative 2 years ago here at Wix. Myself, I've been with the company about 1.5 years. And it's really how do we take the technology and all the innovation that we're utilizing in our self-serve channel and bring it to partners. And that's exactly what we're doing. Many of the partners are here in this room and here in the traditional space, but or what I would call the traditional space, because I've been coming to these conferences for the last 7-8 years. But many of these are other companies that are in other industries like Vistaprint and LegalZoom. So we're servicing a broad range. We have over 100,000 agencies on our platform, all from 1 to 3 sites within their customer base, all the way up to hundreds of thousands. Okay, enough about Wix. Let's get back to DIY. So Wix has been a public company over 15 years. Like I said, everything that we do is highly measured and tested and optimized. And so what we want to do within this space is take the 15 years of experience that we've had in DIY and bring that to our channel partners so that you can offer the right solution at the right time to the right user. And that's what we're going to talk about is the how. But just to emphasize, we're pretty good at it. We have over $1 billion in revenue, and we never had a salesperson until 2 years ago. So what we're good at, what this is showing, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but they're basically cohorts. So we bring on users in the freemium model. We're kind of like the OGs of freemium. We bring people on in a freemium model, and we're very good at converting them to paid, but not just converting to paid, growing with them and further monetizing them over time by giving them more solutions that are super relevant to their business, right? You don't want to just throw everything at them when they first come on. You want to guide them through their business journey and give them the right solutions and surface the right messaging over time so that you can grow with them. And how we do that, I kind of broke it down into 3 ways that we think about building a funnel. So we want to hook them, segment them, and then convert them. And conversion can happen within our tool as well as with your salespeople. And we'll talk about hooking them first. So the key to DIY and why this is interesting to this crowd is you guys have access to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of SMBs. And you need a big funnel initially to start if you want to do self-service. So we want to build a funnel together. This is going to give that low barrier of entry, bring the users on, and then we can do something interesting with them, right? How do we build a funnel? Of course, we can build a funnel with an entry point within your website. No big deal. But let's take it a step further. What makes directories different? Directories have lots of data. You guys have all the data on all of the businesses within your markets. So let's leverage that to your advantage. Let's combine your data and then combine our technology, and we'll come up with something really cool. So at Wix, we have what we call ADI. ADI is short for Artificial Design Intelligence, and essentially what it is, this is actually out of date. I found out just today, we support not 14,000, but 16,500 different business categories. And when I say support, what does that mean? We have unique copy, content, images, layouts, et cetera, so that we can basically take a business category, a business name, the data that you have, and now the call to action is not buy a website. The call to action is claim the site that we've already built for you, that's for your business, that has unique copy, that's been optimized with pages that are relevant for your business, that's been optimized with apps that are relevant for your business as well. So if you're a dentist, we're going to pre-install chat and bookings, right? If you are a yoga studio, we're going to install our bookings and event solutions. Now that the user has claimed their site, the next thing we want to do is segment them, because we can't sell to them efficiently unless we really know what the business is all about. How do we do that? Well, I just mentioned, we start with the verticals and the categories. That's easy. You guys have been doing taxonomy for years, right? Now we want to take it a step further.
what are you doing on our platform? What kind of tools are you using? Maybe you've turned on online stores or fitness or some of our vertical offerings, and you start to test some of the apps that we've had. But even further, what are you actually doing in our tool? What stage of your business journey are you on? Have you gotten stuck somewhere, or have you published and now you need to take the next action to actually monetize your business? We look at all this data, we can combine it with analytics data as well, and now we start to build a really interesting and robust live view of your customer. And we take that data, and now this is where we get to the cool part, is we upsell. Like I said before, this can be, selling has different connotations. Just like I mentioned, we think of SMEs as the plumber, as a local store, but an SME could be an Instagram influencer, right? Selling is the same way. We can upsell things in the tool. We can also make your salespeople more efficient, and both, quite frankly. So the next question is how, right? Within Wix, I mentioned, we get all this data, we optimize, we know what your users want. We know what they want because we want to show them what to do next, right? We want to guide them. One way we do this is within our dashboard. So the Wix dashboard is dynamic. Of course, for our partners, it's also co-branded. And the dashboard's not going to look the same for every user. So for example, if you are a contractor and maybe you've gotten your website published and you've gotten live and you're getting traffic to the site, the next suggestion could be, why don't you accept payments? Invoices could be cool. Why don't you accept bookings for your services so that you can go out to your customers at scheduled times and now accept payment on the spot? For a restaurant, we may push them to start taking online reservations and things like that. So everything is going to look different for every user. And we can also market to them beyond the dashboard. And this is where I think it gets very interesting for partners, because now we're talking about marketing services that you have. So another piece of tool that we have is called Dealer. Dealer is essentially a in-tool marketing tool that takes the data that we provide it and offers up unique messaging to the user at certain times. So a couple examples of this might be, we know that you've bought a product. Maybe it came in your package and you're not utilizing it. We can display ads that say, take advantage of this feature. We know that you've gotten online, maybe you've spent a little too much time in the editor, you look like you're stuck, you look like you might need help. This is when we can say, do you need help? And these are the types of messagings that we're going to give your users and route them then back to your Salesforce. So you can start to think of this, this funnel that's converting, obviously, for DIY, but also now bringing users back up into your Salesforce and into the do-it-for-me services that you provide. And that's like, in conclusion, right? That's the real benefit to a partnership with Wix, right? It all comes down to, there's three things that we don't have at Wix. We don't have salespeople. We don't have service people providing fulfillment, and we would definitely like new users. And so we want to provide our technology and our experience within the space that I spoke to, combine it with your brands, with your salespeople, with your data, and offer a really interesting solution for the SMBs. Questions?
Any question? You're all very silent. Yeah, so I think I have one on the approach with different taxonomies and different segmentations, and so how do you guys envisage the next steps? You know, when we think about different universe and the possibility to have advertising into metaverse and into spaces where we don't really have the language yet. So is it something that you see as processed by the AI, or do you think that we're going to have to keep like vertical organization type?
Well, okay, a couple things. That was out of the metaverse, not the real verse. So we have some natural language processing. So all of the companies in this room probably have their own taxonomy that they've worked on for many years. We do have natural language processing to match that into ours. So that's what's today, of course. As I mentioned, this deck literally got outdated this week. I think we sent it to you like 2 days ago, and it went from 14,000 to 16,500. So we will continue to innovate. Maybe what's more interesting is like on the Web3 side of things, we are getting into Web3 at Wix. We have a company that was acquired by Wix that services artists in particular, and they're doing essentially Web3 defense by scanning the blockchains to make sure that their artistry is not being ripped off, copied, and then sold on different blockchain marketplaces. So, of course, Wix is, keeping a finger on the pulse of Web3 and Metaverse. How that will affect taxonomy, I don't know today.
Yeah, no, but that's interesting to see that you're into this like, maybe taxonomy is not the right word, but the organization of the blockchain and the ROI, let's say, and the revenue model repetition on that. So that's probably wise to do. Any question? Okay, thanks very much, Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah.